Welcome to the 9th episode of the Hindsight and Hot Takes podcast. I'm your host, Connor Justclair. I'm joined once again by Taylor Plaisance. Taylor has been an avid follower of all things football for over 17 years. Today, it's time to go through our official 2025 Saints mock draft. We'll let you know our picks for this year's draft. It's time for 2020 Vision. It's time for our official 2025 Saints mock draft. In the first round, we've been talking. Last week we had, in our other mock draft, we had them taking Ted McMillan. But with the news of Derek Carr this week, I think they go Shedeur Sanders with the 9th overall pick. In his 2024 stats, he had 4,134 passing yards, 37 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. He had the highest completion percentage in the entire country at 74%, along with averaging 8.7 yards per throw. Taylor, what do you think of this pick?
I really like this pick. I know I've said this the past few mock drafts, like I'm always liking the Saints first round pick, but with the news of Derek Carr going down, we need a guy, and the Saints have not picked a quarterback in literal decades in the first round, so I say we just pull the trigger and see what happens.
I mean, as we said about Shedeur Sanders, he's been a winner everywhere he's been. He's gone through a lot of adversity, starting at Jackson State, then moved to Colorado, won everywhere he went. Obviously, is the son of Deion Sanders, so he has to live up to that Sanders name. You know, throughout the whole process, he was asked how he would feel playing in the black and gold. Obviously, he played in the black and gold at Colorado, but he hinted at he would be all for it. I think he's going to be a good fit with this offense.
Agreed.
You know, I really think Shedeur Sanders, one of the things that stood out to me on his tape for his pro day was his deep ball. The dude had great deep ball accuracy, and as we saw with the Saints, the first two games last year, when all your receivers are healthy, that is how they win games. I think Shaheed's going to have a very big year if you start Shedeur Sanders. Chris Olave as well. Shaheed, and with the addition of Brandon Cooks, I think they're going to fit
a
very
lot of
well.
Speedsters. We need a guy that can actually hit them in stride and not be iffy, have we seen the last few games.
And I really think, again, all things have to play. Obviously, your offensive line has to stay healthy. But I think if you finally get a year with offensive line, you draft a winner in Shedeur Sanders with that moxie, that swagger, I think the Saints fans are going to really love him.
Agreed. Now at pick 40, I have the Saints taking Walter Nolan, the D lineman from Ole Miss. At Ole Miss this last year, he had 48 tackles, 26 solo tackles, 2 pass deflections, and 6.5 sacks. And he was just an unstoppable beast the entire year, as we've seen. Connor, what do you think about this?
I think going into this draft process, he was probably the second best D tackle in this whole draft class. So the fact that you could pick a guy like this at 40, it's going to be really big for the Saints. They need to bolster the trenches. This dude he could get after the quarterback, but he could also stuff the run, and that's exactly what they're looking for. So I think he's going to fit perfectly in this team.
Yeah, he's just a certified game wrecker, as we've seen this entire year at Ole Miss. He was a big reason they won a few of their games. Just that pressure he gets on the quarterback instantly.
And I really think that, his experience in the SEC is going to transfer his game very well to the NFL. I see him being pretty much a day one starter for this team. And again, you're the Saints, you need day one starters. So I think Walter Nolan is your guy at pick 40. Next, I have the Saints' first trade in this year's draft. I have the Saints trading up to pick 49 to select Notre Dame cornerback Benjamin Morrison. Throughout his college career, he has 9 total interceptions, including a pick 6. He's a very aggressive corner and is looked on as the second best corner in this draft cycle. Taylor, what do you think of this pick?
After losing Marshawn Lattimore, the Saints really need help at the corner position, so I really like this pick. We just signed Isaac Yiadom, who had a good year with us the year before last, but we need some day one starters, as you said, and the second best corner in this draft would probably do.
Also losing Paulson Adebo earlier in this free agency, him going to the Giants. I really think you need to bolster the cornerback room. Obviously, you had Kool-Aid McKinstry, which he'll play a lot bigger of a role in this team, also with Alontae Taylor. But I think with the experience you're getting with Benjamin Morrison, he's going to slide very well as that cornerback 2 or 3 for this team.
Agreed. At pick 71, I have the Saints taking Ohio State standout running back Quinshon Judkins. He had 1,060 total yards. He averaged 5.5 yards per carry. He had 14 touchdowns. He also had 161 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. A big thing that I saw, he has 0 lost fumbles. He fumbled once out of his entire collegiate career, but it was recovered. And all these stats are more exemplified because he had another great running back on Ohio State this past year, Travion Henderson, who took a lot of touches. So I think it's pretty impressive that Quinshon showed out this much with another star on his team. What do you think, Connor?
Again, Judkins started his career at Ole Miss, fared very successfully at his time at Ole Miss, transferred to Ohio State, again continued to play great. Probably, again, a very deep running back class, but I see him as probably, other than Genty and Hampton from North Carolina, he's probably the second or third best running back in a very deep running back class. So if you could snag him with the 71st pick, have him, take touches with Alvin Kamara, I think it's going to work very well for this team.
A good usage for him to take the load off of Kamara as he gets up there in age, try to preserve what we have left in him. And his usage.
Very good, a very good outside runner, which I think that's going to play to the Saints' strengths in this new offense. And I really think with the new coaching staff,
we know they like to run the ball.
And run the ball to the outside, and I think Quinshon Judkins is the perfect man to fit that role.
Agreed.
With the Saints' next pick, I have them finally bolstering their offensive line, trading up to pick 81 to select LSU right tackle Emory Jones. The dude was a standout at LSU, played, with a very good O-line his entire time at LSU, played with Will Campbell, got experience from Will Campbell. I think very underrated. I mean, this dude was, coming into the year, he was looked down as easily a first-round pick, but he didn't have probably the year you really wanted. Good year, not great year. So I have the Saints trading up to pick him with the 81st pick. Taylor?
Yeah, in my opinion, he still has a lot to grow. He looks very raw, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because he is really good right now and he's still a pretty raw player. So he has a lot to grow into, and I feel like the Saints can help him take that next step. Next, I have the Saints at pick 112, picking TCU receiver Savion Williams. He's a big guy, 6'5", 225-pounder. He had 60 receptions for 611 yards and 6 touchdowns and 10.2 yards per catch. Not very eye-popping numbers, but surprisingly for a really big guy, he also had 322 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, and averaged 6.3 yards per carry. What do you think, Connor?
I think, first off, Savion Williams is very unknown. He did play on a very not good TCU team this past year. And I really think if you get this 6'5" receiver, that's what the Saints need. And you could get him at a very low in the draft, pick 112. You're not using super high capital on him. I think, again, with that versatility, he could go up and get the ball, but he could also run the ball if you need. I think he's going to be a very good fit for the Saints offense.
Agreed.
And finally, with the 184th pick in the draft, I have the Saints finally picking a tight end, Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame. He's really looked on as not a big play guy, but more of a safety blanket for the quarterback. This past year, he had 421 yards and 3 touchdowns. He may not touch the ball a lot, but when he does, he makes it count. Again, last year with the Saints, that's what we talked about was one of their problems on 3rd and kind of 8-yard range. That's what they struggled with, picking up first downs. I think this is the safety blanket they need. Taylor?
Yeah, with the amount of big play guys that we are going to have next year with Chris Olave, everyone being healthy, Chris Olave, Shaheed, hopefully Judkins, and Savion Williams, we need a little 8-10 yard play kind of guy that needs to get us out of a little hole. And I feel like it's going to be a very good pick to bolster this offense for Shedeur Sanders and give him the best chance to succeed at this level.
I really think if you get Mitchell Evans in this building, he's going to be able to learn from Foster Monroe. He's going to be able to learn from Jawan Johnson. He's going to craft his ability, and he's, again, going to be that safety blanket that you really need, that you were looking for last year. So I think he's going to fit well in this team.
Agreed.
So, Taylor, if we are able to draft all of these guys, how do you think this is going to leave us for the upcoming season?
I think we're going to be very successful if we can hit on all these picks. All of our picks that we have talked about, they're positions of need, positions of day one starters, and I believe all these guys can definitely get it done. And we're going to be pretty good next year if we can get an actual starting quarterback in the first round for the first time in a very long time.
And if you get a couple guys like Benjamin Morrison, Walter Nolan to bolster that defense as well, I mean, the sky's the limit for this team. Playoffs, potentially, but I certainly expect a growth if you hit on all these picks moving forward.
If you hit on all these picks, I expect a floor of at least 8 wins, which doesn't seem like much, but for us right now, that'd be a little spark of hope.
And in the NFC South, you never know.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please leave a like and comment your thoughts.
Hindsight's got the view, hot takes cutting through. Join us next time, my friend, where the shouting never ends.